Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with another Magic Maker project for hobby hoppers. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Steph Williams. I'm a paper crafter and card maker from Queensland, Australia. And here is today's project. Typically at the beginning of my videos, I usually show what products I used, but I was a little eager to get started. And so I've gone straight into stamping. This card features the new Wild Wolf stamp set and the wolf before and afters. I did stamp out a couple more wolves, but these two won out in the end. I'm also stamping out the trees, that adorable little raven, and the rocks for one of the wolves to sit on. I'll be using the giant Happy Halloween die, which means it will take up a lot of space of the background that I'll be blending in a minute, and so I don't really need a whole lot of stamped images to fill in the space. So it means that there's not a whole lot to colour in today. But as always, I'm using the same technique, using a lighter Copic marker, then a darker one for the shadows, and then I just quickly blend them together. I also add some white highlights with my Jelly Roll pen. This gives my very simply coloured images just a little bit more dimension. And while I'm colouring these in, now is the perfect time to talk about Hobby Hoppers. So if you don't know what Hobby Hoppers is, it is a small online business based in Melbourne here in Australia and is run solely by the owner Trish. It is my favourite place to go to for all the new release lawn fawn, washi tapes, my Jelly Roll pens, the beautiful sparkly watercolour pigments that I'll be using in a minute, and plenty more craft supplies. The links to everything I'm using today will be below in the description box, as well as the link to the Hobby Hoppers website and the Instagram. Now we're moving on to my favourite part of this whole card. I feel like it has been a long time since I've done a really good blended background. I was searching high and low on Pinterest for Halloween cards for inspiration, and I've noticed that a lot of nighttime scenes consist of either these colours or colours that are very similar. So I'm using Spiced Marmalade first for that little ring of glow around the moon. I'm then going in with some peacock feathers. I'll blend that out to some Dusty Concord, Chipped Sapphire after that, and then some black soot around the very edges. You will see me going back and forth with these colours over and over to get that perfect blend. And while it's been a little while since I've done a background like this, I was fairly impressed with how nice everything blended. I go back and forth between the brushes and the foam tools. And I don't know why I've gone back to these ones, I just feel like I'm getting a better result with them at the moment. And I'm sure you'll agree by the end, when you see some close-ups of this, it did work really well. And while I'm happy with how this one turned out, I'm always open for suggestions. So if you've got any tips and tricks to getting beautifully blended backgrounds, make sure you pop them in the comments below. If not, maybe let me know what other ink combinations you love to see. My Distress Oxide ink collection isn't ginormous, but I feel I've got a good rainbow going, enough to maybe mimic most suggestions pretty well. This next part had me just a little bit nervous, and I guess it's because I have not used this stencil yet. I know I've used the clouds in the past, but not this moon piece. So this is the first time I'm doing it, and I went in with this really pale colour, antique linen, and I just went very soft. maybe a little darker around the edges, leaving the middle quite white and glowy. And then all I did for those little craters was use the excess ink off my orange foam piece that I was using for the background. I then cover up my moon again to do my stars because there's no stars in front of the moon. I nearly ruined it doing it that way. And then once all of those beautiful sparkles were dry, I then used this little dabbing tool with my picket fence ink and I just dabbed over those clouds. This probably wasn't necessary. I guess I just wanted to see how this worked. This is the brightest and most vibrant white that I have. So it didn't really stand out a lot, but I also kind of didn't want it to stand out a lot. This big cloud down the bottom, as cute as it is, it really doesn't get seen once I put the Happy Halloween over. I didn't really plan for that, not gonna lie. But if I were to make this again, I'd just keep all the clouds around the top. Or maybe put them lower so it looks like fog. I'm sure you can imagine that this card was incredibly simple to assemble. I'm just popping my trees on either side with some PVA glue and I'm having them hang over just a little bit so that I can trim it off. It just makes the scene look like it extends beyond the card without everything having to be framed and fitting perfectly. I was so excited to use this Happy Halloween. I love these giant dies. They're so handy for filling up a large amount of space. It kind of takes off that pressure for making such busy scenes, which I know I'm known for, but it's nice to have a break from that. I placed this sentiment in the center, but a little on the higher side so that I've got plenty of room for my wolves below. I feel like it is a little bit loud around the trees, but it definitely really stands out well against that moon. Just to make all of these letters pop, I'm going over them with my white Jelly Roll pen, just like I do for my images, keeping all of these highlights to one side so that it is consistent with maybe light hitting it from one angle. Now this is the time in my card making process where I flip over my card front and I add my double-sided tape. I do this because I'm about to add dimension to the front with foam squares and I really don't want to smush them if it's not necessary. So I'm just adding some double-sided tape all around the edges so that it is ready to apply to a card base. The rest of the assembly is very self-explanatory, so I am just going to leave you with a little bit of music while the rest of this scene comes together. And there we have it. Another Magic Maker project for hobby hoppers is complete. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, then please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to leave me a comment down below. You can find all the products that I used today on the Hobby Hoppers website and those links will be in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.